Hello, welcome to Castle Coaching. This video today is going to be on self-esteem. So let's get straight into the video. Self-esteem. It's got a symbiotic relationship with confidence, without a doubt, but it is separate to confidence. So what is self-esteem? What's the definition of it? The definition of self-esteem is really about how you see yourself. If you strip away all other factors, it's how you see yourself. So what is it? It's about your, let's spell this correctly, self-perception. So how you see yourself on any given day, ideally, right? Ideally, and we don't live in an ideal world a lot of the time, but ideally, you want your self-esteem and your self-perception to be operating from a place of balance, of equilibrium, and you do not want to have your esteem fluctuating to any great degree on any given day. What that would suggest, if your self-esteem is low, is things can affect your self-esteem far easier than they should, and you want to get to a point where your self-esteem cannot be affected by anything on any given day, no matter what happens, even if it's unexpected. So your self-perception is how you feel about yourself. That's, again, stripping away all other factors. How do you feel about yourself? A previous thing I've mentioned is you can look in the mirror. You can just really eyeball yourself. It might feel silly. Just look in the mirror for 30 seconds. See how you feel. What emotions are conjured up? How do you feel? What are you thinking? Sometimes it's not going to be pleasant. But life isn't always pleasant, and you have to go through some hard truths often to get to the good stuff. So be honest with yourself, and you can do that for a month as an exercise and see how you feel, see how your feelings change. You can journal it, write it down. It's always a good way to do that sort of stuff. And then you have a record of it. It's something you've actually done yourself, and the results can be very interesting. So self-perception, also related to self-esteem, is your mood. Again, this shouldn't be all over the place, fluctuating, right? You really want it. By the way, world's smallest whiteboard cleaner. So you really want your mood on a pretty even keel on any given day. Your mood is really related to your self-esteem, in that any given day, whether it's when you wake up or something or some things that happen during the day, if there's things happening, thoughts or actions that are happening that are really affecting your mood to quite severe level, where it's perhaps causing anxiety, it's denting your self-confidence, and those are things you really need to investigate further and get a bit scientific about, and I'll get into that towards the end of the video. So what's the other element of this? Oh yes, comparison. Mark Twain said the comparison is the death of joy, and he certainly wasn't wrong there. When you're in a place of low self-esteem, you're certainly comparing your life to other people's lives, and when self-esteem's really a bit out of control, you're going to be comparing yourself to parameters that don't match at all to yours. So you might see somebody on Instagram that you look up to, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, their life looks so great, they're so confident, they're doing what they love to do. But come on, let's be real, Instagram is a snapshot of somebody's reality. You don't see the behind the scenes stuff, the day-to-day reality. So it's really a kind of fake reality anyway. It's all a bit staged. Same with movies and pretty much anything in the press. It's scripted. It's all been arranged. So it's not natural, okay? So it is natural to compare yourself. That's absolutely human, and don't beat yourself up about that. But there's a limit to how far you want to go with that. And I've certainly made the mistake of comparing myself to other people, whether it's peers or people I look up to or look up to now. But yeah, you really want to rein that back in and examine it. Why are you comparing yourself to anybody else? The trick really with comparing is compare yourself to yourself. Compare yourself to yesterday, the day before, week before, a year, decade, whatever. The only person you should really be trying to improve on is yourself. And honestly, it's very freeing, and all else will follow from that principle, okay? And it will take a bit of work, without question. Like I said, good things take work. Do not be afraid or think you don't have time to do it. There's always time to work on yourself. So, what else can I offer to you? Yeah, self-esteem, it can certainly fluctuate, right? It's you like how your self-esteem is now from, I don't know, if depending on what age you are. Well, okay, I'll use myself as an example. A decade ago, my self-esteem wasn't in the best place. Some days it would be all right. Some days it'd be a bit too high, but it wasn't. It certainly wasn't steady. So that's really something that I needed to work on, and I studied, I've observed, I've got scientific, and day to day now, what anybody thinks of me is really irrelevant, pretty much. And what I think about myself is what I really gauge my sort of success, I guess you could call it, relative success. My personal milestones are based on my life. And that's not to say you can't be competitive, although that might seem paradoxical. But anyway, we'll go into that another time. So ultimately, this is you here, okay? And the world is here. So you want to get to a point where you see yourself separate from the rest of the world, and you're not thinking about, oh, they've got this, they've got that, I don't have this, I don't have that. Doesn't matter. It's bullshit. You've possibly been inculcated with that idea from media and peers and any other people of influence in your life. So really, you want to see yourself through a lens of self perspective, and stop seeing yourself from the perspective of other people, of society. You want to really create a bit of a barrier there and examine yourself, so to speak, and what makes sense to you, what feels true, and what doesn't feel true. Okay, so this also goes into truth. So actually, I'll add this on: self-truth, because the world's going to give you feedback without question. Yeah, you're going to get feedback from people you meet, people that don't even say anything to you. You might get a sense from their body language, the way they look at you, and so on. And you're going to get feedback from work you do. You're going to get feedback from schoolwork, from university work if you go to university, and so on and so on. So the world's constantly giving you feedback, and it's up to you to accept or reject what's coming at you. And that goes into, deeper stuff such as what people have maybe called you, teasing or bullying, stuff like that. And just anything, any kind of narrative that you've had in your life, look at it, be observational and examine it. And if it doesn't make any sense, get rid of it. And that goes for people as well. If people are damaging to your self-esteem, why are you still hanging around with them? Well, ironically, that's a paradox, right? Because quite possibly you don't have the self-esteem and the confidence to perhaps leave a friendship group or one friend or a workplace because of that. So if that's not motivation enough to work on your self-esteem, I'm not really sure what can be. So self-truth, be honest with yourself. Be as absolutely honest as you can be. Don't get too caught up in trying to divert this and that, and the world's full of enough bullshit without you adding your own to yourself. And it's a process of eliminating the stuff that doesn't make sense. Yeah, like you can be told 1,000 times a day you're stupid until you're 15 years old. Even if you're a genius, you're going to believe that narrative that someone's given you. So it's up to you, once you step away from that, to question it, examine it, and reject it if it's not true. Okay. Self-truth, very, very important, as is the truth in general. There's seems there's a severe lack of it in today's society, which is incredibly worrying going forwards. So let's go with the golden question, right? How can you have more self-esteem and enjoy life more? Well, that's what my role as a coach is all about. As a life coach, guide, mentor in personal development, whether it's with individuals or a group, much of my work revolves improving people's self-esteem. No matter where it is, it can always be higher, and you'll hear me saying that more than once for sure. So the golden question: how do you improve self-esteem? It's really a process. You have to dedicate some time. It doesn't have to be loads of time, but it certainly it'll add up over the time it's going to take you to develop more self-esteem. It's not a daily. You're not going to suddenly make great leaps in self-esteem from day to day. It's going to be a weekly, monthly, yearly type thing. And depending on where it's at now, your baseline self-esteem now, that's going to dictate how long it's going to take to improve your self-esteem as well. So how do you improve your self-esteem? I'm going to be honest, it's hard work. It's not easy. And going back to this, it's going to take honesty, and it's going to take life experience. Now, life experience is not something you're going to be able to get behind a keyboard or on your phone or watching TV in terms of how it relates to you. You can read how to sail a yacht for a decade and know absolutely everything about sailing a yacht. But if you've never stepped on a yacht, you can't sail a yacht, okay? So what I'm saying here is, not that I own a yacht, at least not yet. Who knows? What I'm saying here is you're going to have to get the experience of life. You're going to have to go out there and get it It's not going to come to you. So that's really golden. You have to put the work in. You have to put yourself out there. You have to really embrace your fears, and you'll see the majority of, if not all, the fears you have are nothing. Like most of the fears we have are in our own minds, and they're far greater than they actually are. Take public speaking, for example. I used to be terrified of public speaking, and now I like it. Maybe even love it. Okay, it's something I enjoy. It's liberating. It feels good, and it's great to share information. It's all about communicating. So, and with my self-esteem getting higher, my confidence, which is related, but they're not quite the same, I enjoy talking. It's good. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm here standing in my living room talking to you, but before that I'm talking just into the camera. Do I feel silly? Well, I would have done in the past, but now I couldn't give a shit. So you have to overcome your fears, really examine and question your beliefs. Do they serve you well? Are they real? Are they actual, tangible, or at least valid? Do they have validity? If not, why do you still have them? Question that. And your world, what's going to make your life better? What's going to make your world better? Everything encompassed in your world, right? Think about that also. Make a list, write it down. I'm never going to get tired of telling people to write stuff down because it makes such a huge difference. So think about what's going to make life easier, what's going to make life better. And in terms of self-esteem, that's down to you. And I wish you all the best in improving your self-esteem and getting it to a place where you feel good about yourself. Again, I'll bring it back to castlecoaching.co.uk. That's my website. If you'd like to book a free 30-minute consultation, please do so, and I'll be happy to talk to you. So, yeah, today's chat, self-esteem. Next time will be on self-acceptance. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your time.